Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to learn about types of industries. Already we have learned about what are industries and the location of industries and the different industrial regions, everything we have learned. And again, see types of industries. Industries are usually classified on the basis of size, ownership, raw materials, and products. Again, industries are classified on the basis of size, ownership, raw materials, and products. Okay, now we can learn one by one related with the different types of industries. See, size, we know that an industry that produces on a large scale or employs a large workforce and involves a huge investment is called large scale industries. Means, see, again, what are large scale industries? If an industry produces on a large scale and employs a large number of laborers and involves or in other words, if the industry is investing too much money, and such types of industry is called a large scale industry. Again, see some of the examples of large scale industries: the iron and steel industries, then automobile and shipping industries. All these are examples of large scale industries. And again, iron and steel industry, then automobile industries, all these are some of the examples of large scale industries. And again, see, means different industries, large scale, and another type of industry, that is small scale industry. Let us see what are small scale industries. A small scale industry produces on a smaller scale, means in a small scale industry, the large number of workers or laborers may not be there, and that much money is not needed to invest, and that much machineries are not needed. All these are some of the features of small scale industry. See, a small scale industry produces on a smaller scale and employs fewer people and needs a lower investment. Means that much money is not needed to spend, that much laborers are not needed. See some examples of small scale industries: rice mills, then oil mill, then small units producing fans, then cycles and bulbs. All these are examples of small scale industries, and industries producing small parts like nuts and bolts. Means all these are small scale industries. For large scale industries fall under this category. Means again, village or cottage industries produces on a very small scale. Village industry or cottage industry, all these are small scale industries because the production is very low in all these types of industries. And see, and these industries need very little investment also, or spending or investing that much money also is not needed in a small scale industry. You can see one picture is there, making and selling pots in a cottage industries, means making of pots, that is a cottage industry, and here that much investment or the investment is not needed, and like large scale industries, that much laborers are not needed, that much capital or that much money is not needed to invest also. And again see the ownership. And another before starting this, these small scale industries are attached to the home, means for the almost or many of the small scale industries are working at home only, or they are attached to the home and often employ only family members, means in small scale industries almost all the family members are involved in the making of the particular products, and they produce goods like handloom cloth, means this small scale industries, all the family members are involved in the production work, and they produce goods like handloom cloth, then handicrafts, pottery, pickles, and so on. Means all these things are produced at home, and that much money also is not needed to invest also. And see another one, ownership, means another types of the classification of it, that is ownership. See, an industry owned by an individual or a group of individuals is called a private sector industry. By the name itself it is clear. Listen one more time. An industry owned by an individual or a group of individuals is called a private sector industry. Again, an industry owned by the government is called a public sector industry. See, private sector industry and public sector industry. The industry or an industry that is owned by an individual or a group of individuals is called a private sector industry, and on the other hand, an industry that is owned by the government is called the public sector industry. And see again, and an industry owned jointly by the government and private individuals is called joint sector industry. See, about three types of industry. One, private industry or private sector industry. Then second one, government sector industry, and the third one, joint sector industry. The industries which are owned by private person, that are called private sector industry, and the name itself it is clear. And the government the industries which are owned by government, that is called public sector industry. And the third, the industries which are owned by public private people as well as public government, such industries are called joint sector industry, means owned by government and the private individuals are called joint sector industry. For example, see some of the examples of joint sector industry. See, Tata Iron and Steel Company is a private sector industry. Tata Iron and Steel Company, otherwise TISCO, is a private sector industry, and the Saline Steel Plant under the Steel Authority of India Limited or SAIL is a public sector unit, and the Maruti Udyog Limited, earlier owned jointly by the Indian government and Suzuki Motor Corporation of Japan, was a joint sector enterprise. Okay, these are some of the examples of private sector industry, government sector industry, and joint sector industry. Again, see, an industry owned and run by a group of people who produce or supply raw materials for that industry is called a cooperative sector industry. See some example. A rice mill owned and run by farmers growing rice is an example of a cooperative sector unit. Okay, these are some of the things related with the industries or types of industries. Private sector, public sector and joint sector, and small scale industries, large scale industries and cottage industries. All these are some of the main points of this topic. Okay, thank you all of you. The remaining topic we can learn in the next class.